Pat O'Gray from Marketing for Hippies. Good to have you here in my living room, talking about niching today. So here's one of the most helpful things I think I could give you in terms of crafting or writing your niche, is to focus on specifics, not generalities. Specifics are so much more compelling. You ask any writer and they'll tell you, if you want to make a passage more compelling, within reason, you make it more specific. So the difference between, consider this, he pulled up in his automobile versus he pulled up in his car versus he pulled up in his red car versus he pulled up in his red Camaro versus he pulled up in his red 1973 cherry red 1973 Camaro that he'd won from Frankie Left Eyes in the poker game in '67. Whatever, you see what I'm saying? Couldn't be yeah, you get the idea. Those kind of details make it much richer and more compelling. So similarly, I see people when they write out their niche say, I want to work with people who want to transform, people who are stressed, people going through transitions, people who are wanting good things in their life, people who are feeling stuck, and it's all so broad, it's so general. You don't want what you're saying to be able to apply to basically every human alive. So you want to get specific. So wait, stuck? What kind of stuck? Transformation? What do you mean by transformation? People will also say, I want to work with spiritual people. The hell are you talking about spiritual? Are we talking indigenous spirituality, Buddhist spirituality, Christian spirituality? And by the way, if we're talking Christian, which branch of Christianity are we talking about? Are we talking New Age spirituality? Are we talking kind of just a general, spiritual, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual thing? Are we talking conversations with God? Are we talking the Celestine prophecy? Are we talking A Course in Miracles? Or are we more talking Shambhala Buddhism, and specifically, you get this ancestral stuff? Are we talking Daniel Foor's good work with ancestral medicine? It's so broad. So we get very specific. The difference between saying, I want to help people who are spiritual versus I want to help people whose life has probably been guided by these 3 books. The difference between I want to work with women who are into feminine things versus they have a well-worn copy of Women Who Run with the Wolves on their bedside table. You see what I'm saying? The specifics are so much more compelling. Not just they like to read books. What kind of books? They like to listen to podcasts? Great. What are the top 3? And this is a tool I use a lot in helping people figure out the specifics. If you see something general that you've said, can you come up with the top 3 examples of that? So I help people who are sick. Okay, what kind of sick? Oh, chronic disease. Great, but what kind? Can you name the top 3? Because the top 3 you have might be different than the top 3 another one has. So how can you make it more specific? The more detail rich it is, the better. This is something we do in our my Identifying Your Ideal Client Teleseminar. Let's see if I can put the link to that below. It's not happening again for a little while. But if you go to my blog, I'll put the link below. There's a blog of a bunch of homepages that you can check out. And I think they all do a really good job of being very specific and naming the type of person in such a way that they would read it and say, oh my God, that's me, not that's nice. You don't want them to say that's nice. You want them to say that's me, no doubt. Because if you can put it rich in details and they identify with 75% of those details, I mean, hell, 60%, they're probably leaning in. But if it's 75, 80%, it's a match made in heaven. That's more accurate than a horoscope. Yeah. So anyways, that's all. Details. Go for the specific, not the general.